Alright, time for underdraftphysics.com. Debatephysics.com also, but really no point. There's no curiosity left in the human brain, no scrutiny, no rationality, no need to make logical sense, to make logical sense. Yeah, they just don't. Nobody needs it. They just live by bullshit. So anyway, I have attempted to solicit some sort of rational response to the counter arguments I'm making to this notion that these old axioms of physics, kinetic energy, 1/2 mv squared, this weird, and it is weird phenomenon. I mean, not to concede that it's weird that the velocity squared would have something to do with energy, that somehow the lighter you make something, so you make it go faster, that somehow it has more energy, whatever they think energy is. So they don't think energy is some kind of force that's actually quantized, that you collect a certain amount of it and then you have that amount to give away. They think of it as some rabbit out of the hat magic stuff, that things move not because they've been changed by interaction and they have acquired a force, money, currency, energy currency. They don't think of it at all like that. Just poofs. And I use the analogy. I mean, it's a perfectly reasonable analogy to say, look, you have this electricity thing that's basically saying the same thing. Okay, amperage is mass, and voltage is essentially, you could say, it correlates to a velocity, a pressure. They call voltage pressure, and it makes perfectly good sense. There's no reason to say, oh, I should think the velocity is squared. I should think the voltage is a squared function, and the wattage increases exponentially, quadratically as I increase the voltage. Why would I think that? Why would I think that makes sense? And they're arguing that I should think that makes sense. That, oh yeah, it should be squared, like regular energy. The energy of electricity should also have the same sort of quadratic thing, because that's so natural to think of squaring a velocity. I mean, velocities are such. I mean, it's so obvious to think of like a volume of velocity, and certainly to think of it as being a cube of velocity. Why not? Yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't make any sense at all. They're just talking at this bullshit. So I'm just pointing out, you have these axioms, okay, this wave-particle duality. It's sort of a nonsense conversation. They probably should have never approached this subject based on that kind of argument. What they should have been saying is, hey, you know what? The speed of light is the same as the speed of magnetism. It's the same as the speed of gravity, and it's the same as the speed of electricity. So why are we pretending it's the speed of light when all the forces, all the stuff that appears to be energy moving at the maximum speed the universe allows, all of them go that maximum speed. So why don't we just call it the speed of something called force? And we know that photons are a force. We know they impose a momentum. So, and they're telling me, okay, instead of responding rationally to the arguments I'm making, giving me a counter argument to the specific arguments I'm making about how levers work and about how bowling works and about how spaceships work, and no, instead they just keep posting drivel about why I don't believe. Like I have to be somehow broken because I'm not a believer in a concept that never could possibly, I can't make any sense out of it. Just I can't make any sense out of your drawing of a photon. And I say, well, how does it do this? Right? I can't do what the photon is doing, right? I can't squiggle through space free with not using any energy. I'm going up, I'm going down, I'm going over, I'm doing this. At the same time, I'm doing this. What the fuck is all that crap? They have no physics in their physics. It really is just the rebirth of religion. I mean, I guess if you mix up the letters of physics, it spells religion again. We're just back to a God theory, a magic theory. We don't have to explain how it does it. We just say it does it. So they just say, okay, the rule is space is a bent quadratic, and stuff just moves. No force involved. No, it just moves because the bent space says move. What the? And they think that is, you have to be some kind of imbecile if you don't immediately say, oh yeah, that makes perfectly good sense. What a great explanation. No. And again, the reason why that crazy explanation was accepted is because they hinged it all on an axiom, that, the force of light is going to be bent twice as much by gravity. So a force is going to be bent by gravity. In the first place, that doesn't make any sense. But on top of that, it's going to be bent twice as much as anything else in the universe. Right? And they established that proof with garbage evidence, right? The Eddington experiment. Garbage science. There's no hope here. It just really is a awful circumstance that nobody can have an honest conversation about. They'll deny the history. So we know for 100 years this was hotly argued. I mean, it was, physicists insulted each other about how you're a free energy nut. You're a free energy. They would point at each other and call each other loopy, okay, because their theory caused there to be free energy, and they all kind of accepted that free energy ain't a thing. Ironically, that one of the people that came up with the stupid de Chardolay denting clay experiments was actually a free energy nut. He went around the world looking for perpetual motion machines. So he wasn't even certain that the physics prohibited perpetual motion. So just, not much you can say. All right, so he's quoting me as saying there's nothing to understand in your theory, right? So I can't understand it. So, you can't explain it. So you have no explanation for what this magical increase in the force is. You can't explain where the energy goes in the ballistic pendulum example. For example, you conserve 100% of the momentum and you lose 99.94% of the kinetic energy. And if you're going to say, well, the kinetic energy is heat, or its pieces flew off, or something happened, well, then you have to explain how you kept all your momentum and you made that shit happen. Because I can just use the argument that every earth science, and when I was taught in grammar school earth science, the basic idea was you were kind of explain that friction is like bowling pins. You can knock down a bowling pin, that takes energy. Well, friction's doing the same thing. You're contacting the surface, you're moving pieces of the surface, and you have to give away your energy to do that. That's how it was explained. That's the nature of friction, is the same. It's just on a micro scale, just a very small scale. You're moving very tiny things, all right? But it's the same thing as moving some big thing. And you're going to have to lose your energy for that thing to move. That's why friction costs, is because you can't move the ground, you can't vibrate it, you can't heat it. Okay, without losing the energy, you have to use your energy to do it. And so how could the ballistic pendulum make any sense? 99.94% of the kinetic energy gone, but you got all of your momentum still. So how could you have done any thermal stuff or any of this other stuff if you still have 97% of your momentum? It doesn't make any sense. And they're sitting there arguing that somehow I'm crazy because I say that doesn't make any sense. They're implying that this is some sort of psychological problem, when no, this is what rational people should do. Somebody says something, Jesus walked on water and he saved us of our sins. Well, sort of. Well, okay, maybe he didn't save anything because nothing changed, nothing got better. So there was no difference before he was dead and after he was dead, same shitty world. Your dog's still going to die. What the fuck? And you're not supposed to say what the fuck to a silly God theory or a silly axioms that they just state as if they're facts. 4 pounds dropped 1 foot is the same as 1 pound dropped 4 feet. I don't have any experimental evidence. I'm just going to tell you that's the truth. I mean, fuck this. I mean, this is so bad. I mean, humans are just such garbage. I mean, this is a real discussion. There are real paradoxes here. I've explained the free energy devices. I'll explain another one in this video. But it's like, you won't deal with the argument. So I made the video about the lever. I pointed out how a balance works. No rational counter argument. Nothing. Nothing. All right. This is very telling. Of course there is. So what is there to understand? It's pull rabbits out of hat. It's all magic. So here he just says the theory gives you the rules of motion. What rules? Rules completely unproven by any evidence, and rules that are incoherent and make no sense. So the rules basically say, okay, I'm just saying you can't move, your kinetic energy doesn't work in space, okay? So unless you're going to say that, you can throw the bullet out one side of your ship and you can throw 2 liters going 1 mile an hour out the other side of the ship, and somehow your ship will turn because of the bullet required you to push more. You had to use more energy to put it into the bullet that has the 2,000 joules versus the 2 joules of the gun recoil. We know that's not how it works. I think you know that. So unless you're going to say something like, no, NASA did use MV squared to calculate thrust. They did use it to land the lunar module on the moon. They didn't use momentum theory. I mean, go ahead and say that, okay? And then we'll have another one of your silly statements to argue. But, there's a ton of evidence indicating, your rules are not demonstrated by actual material fact. Bowlers can't find, the twice as much energy they would gain by using the half as massive ball. They can't find it. All right, you can disagree with them. I disagree. I'm arguing their credibility. And I'm arguing, certainly I'm also arguing your, I think, complete distortions and lies about what Newton believed. And that somehow there's somewhere hidden in Newton's theory some belief in mv squared. That something about what he did in his entire life has something to do with believing, okay, that light things going fast have exponentially more energy than heavy things going slow. Because it's certainly not any impression the rest of the world had, especially at the time. So again, it's just such a denial of the truth. De Charolais would have never had a controversy. She would have never been a person of note. Nobody would have even known her name, okay, if it wasn't for this visa controversy. All right, but there are still rules you can understand. So I'm saying, how can you understand them? How can you understand wave particle? Oh yeah, on Thursday it's a particle, and on Wednesday it's a wave. It just depends on what experiment I'm doing and what I want to believe in. So God, Jesus is the Messiah, or no, Mohammed's the Messiah. I mean, doesn't that make sense to you? Well, it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. All right, just like you can understand the rules of chess. So again, it has absolutely, the whole argument I'm making is that yes, the real physical universe is as solid as a chessboard. The rules are exact and unyielding. There are no exceptions. There are no deviations. The universe makes no errors in doing its physics. Doesn't make any. Okay, it always, every little photon drive flies its exactly little straight path unless something interferes with it to deviate. It doesn't deviate on its own. Everything has to be affected by something to be affected. All right, every single effect has a fucking cause. You're the one arguing for, no, it doesn't really have to. We can just make energy poof into existence and poof out of existence. Oh, you people are just such scum. And if you understand them, you wouldn't have to ask me what they predict or why. I'm not asking you what they predict in any way like I need any information from you. I'm asking you because I'm challenging you to come up with a fucking answer that's rational. And of course you didn't. You don't believe in conservation of energy, clearly. Okay, and I do. I'm saying you have to, whatever energy is, it has to be conserved. So you either explicitly, always, rigidly have to conserve mv squared, or you have to conserve momentum. One of them is the real thing, and one of them has to be absolutely conserved, or else you just live in a silliverse. Because it is cause and effect, and the forces are real, and the forces do cause things to move, and there is nothing else moving anything but force. Oh, fuck you people. Free momentum machine has not been capitalized. Okay, you wouldn't have to ask me what they predict or why your free momentum machine has not been capitalized. Why? So this isn't even an answer. Your theory predicts that I can actually make this machine. I could do this at the bowling alley, for fuck's sake. Right? I can take a big heavy steel ball, a cannonball, and I can put a bowling ball on a pendulum. And because the big heavy steel ball, let's say the bowling ball is 100% elastic, so it's made out of steel also. And so I hit the bowling ball that weighs, 1/10 the weight, let's say, into the big heavy ball. The big heavy ball gets twice the momentum of the ball I just hit it with, and I get a reflection. It swings back with the same energy I had put into it. All right, so it's going to do the same thing over again. And I'm saying, yes, I just keep sliding big steel balls in. You know how many fucking bowling pins I could knock over with that machine? Compared to you? You get one shot with your ball. I get to do it over and over again. And I start the first ball I roll has twice the momentum that the one you have has. I mean, it's a silly... Your theory predicts something that's ludicrous. It's an absolute prediction of your theory, all right, that I can take 100 momentum and I can turn it into 2,000 momentums. That's your theory. And it's garbage. It can't happen, and it doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen because your theory is wrong. And that's the argument you haven't made. Show where my device had. Well, show how I explained that free energy device. Explain to me where I made an error, where I said something wrong about what your theory predicts. Your theory says it is absolutely true. You swing in, you hit it, you get 200 momentum this way, 100 momentum that way. Right? And that way means up into gravity, and it's coming back down again. To do it all over again. And you're saying it's not free energy? Yeah, of course it's free energy. And you have no counter argument. You post this stupid response to the video that says right there, it shows you. I mean, I could draw it again, but do I really have to? How easy it is to make the machine that will multiply the energy by thousands of times. All right. Well, let's say dozens of times. I mean, you start with 100, you could end up with 2,500. Okay, it's going to be interesting if Ian shows us the masses he used. So you should say if he actually weighs what he's claimed the objects to weigh. And again, how's it going to change anything? Let's just say it is a 1 to 3. I just showed you frames taken from the video that illustrate that the velocities aren't half the velocity. I mean, they're just not, plainly not. Okay, the velocity in is 3 times the velocity coming back out. So, I mean, how are you going to do that image? Okay, it's not perfect. It's not, I would say, yes, okay, it's not a perfect way to measure velocity. But I'm just saying it's an indicator indicating that something's wrong with the experiment because they're not moving at half the velocity. God damn. It's going to be interesting if iron shows the masses he used. If they are approximately 3 to 1, then what? Magnets. So again, it's the same ridiculous argument with the silly little icons these people use, their little emoticons, these fucking mental midgets. I haven't made any accusations of magnets. Let's go back through the fucking history of all these fucking crackpot experiments they've done and who has been right, all right, about their criticisms. So why don't you make a list of my criticisms that were absolutely wrong? I mean, some of them were wrong, okay? Sometimes I made a mistake, and but I'm just saying I can demonstrate. But again, why should I waste everybody's time going over all of the circumstances where I explained you measured that wrong? Where I just explained to Gosling that he didn't have the pendulums, right? He had them doing this. You know, he had them bumped into each other. And I told him, oh yeah, you have to have this parallel, you moron. I did that, you asshole. I didn't say magnets. I haven't used any bullshit saying. I haven't even accused them of directly cheating, you fuck. All right? I've made legitimate arguments about how crappy their experiments are. You think Brozo accounted? I mean, his air track was crooked, right? He let go of the cart, and the cart was moving at half the velocity that he was going to measure. So without even touching it, the cart was moving half the velocity. You don't think that's a problem in the experiment? That you don't even have to hit it with a force and it's already moving half the velocity? God, you people are you're such pieces of shit. All right, and then I can't believe Piero commented to this mush. All right, so this is where Piero goes into a bunch of psychobabble bullshit. So this, chronic alcoholic is going to talk about somebody else's psychological issues. This fucking asshole. God damn, what a piece of little scum he is. I've made it clear the reasons why I don't believe is because it's silly magic. It's a fucking religion. That's why I don't believe it. I believe in evolution because it's a well-evidenced, systematic, perfectly consistent theory. Now, when I was a kid, they did raise they said, why are there no missing links? And for a while, I was worried about that argument, right? I said, you know what? It's really fucked up because, how come all of the little, all the best parts of evolution, there's no, that part's missing. And then somewhere before, what's his face? What was his name? Punctuated equilibrium. Somewhere before that, somebody suggested no, well, the problem is only 1 in a trillion, death events is actually preserved. And so if the evolution is happening on the top of a mountain or in, or in some inbreds, on an island. So a few people go to an island and they're inbreeding, right? And then you hear things like, well, genetically, all the North American Indian tribes, they came from 6 females. That was how many crossed the land bridge, 6 females. Those kind of facts. Oh, you realize, so the real evolution takes place maybe in tiny populations that are isolated. And then those tiny populations, because of their better features, their better evolution, eventually can overcome the giant herd. The existings, just like the first humans destroyed Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon man. They got wiped out by the cleverer little monkster, the better monkey. Anyway, so you find out. So that makes it all consistent. And this physics thing has these giant, monstrous gaps in it. Just huge failures to confirm or do the experiments. They haven't done any of these elemental experiments. They haven't shored up any of this physics at all. And it's just a religion. And that's my reason for saying, fuck this. This isn't science. This isn't a scientific explanation. This is just woo. All right. Giraffe's reasons for not believing them is exactly because he can't, okay, put that in word, understand them. And it's literally true. I can't understand a waveaton, okay? Can't understand it because to me, to do this requires a force to act. To do this requires a force to act. Where's all that force coming from? And if you say, well, there's force, the electric force is perpendicular here and it's perpendicular here and it goes through all of space and causes this one little photon to wobble. Oh, please. And then there's the magnetic force fields that are also controlling the one little photon. I mean, it's too ridiculous. All right, back. Where was I? Exactly, can't understand them. His claim is they are impossible to understand. So I'm saying it's impossible to understand it as a fact that 1 pound moving twice the velocity is the same as 4 pounds moving one velocity. That's impossible to understand. Now, 2 pounds moving twice the velocity makes sense that equals 4 pounds moving half that velocity. So yeah, it's impossible for me to understand your theory, okay, when the other one seems so much more rational. And the lever proves it, and all this other stuff proves it, and I'll prove it again, and you have no counter argument. So that's the thing missing here, is any relevant statement to the absolute drawings I've done over and over and over again, and you explaining where I'm making a mechanical mistake in the drawing somewhere. All right. That is the basis of the argument they can't be true. So the basis is you have zero evidence, and what you're suggesting is free energy theory. It's just a fact. You're saying I can make a perpetual motion machine. All right. Because true things can be understood evidently. Nothing's evident. You have to work hard to find the truth. All right. Here we are, 20,000 years into civilization, and some people still haven't figured out that you don't pointlessly torture a sentient animal. You can't even figure that out. You don't do it for your convenience, that's for certain. Amazing. Yes, amazing bullshit. But yes, of course, I think the universe runs more logically, more exactly, more cause and effectly than we do. Okay. Just because of the density of us, we can't track everything and all that kind of crap. But the universe on every scale is a precise instrument. There's no God and there's no spirits, all right, as in spite of what you wish to believe in your little dream catchers and whatnot. This is a common position people have. No, it's completely uncommon. Clearly, you're just like religious dupes. You just want a certain truth to be true. You don't give a fuck about facts. You don't care about evidence. You just care about what's more fun to believe rather than what has more integrity as a belief. You're just disgusting fibbers and deceivers and liars. Ugh. Okay, anyway. I don't understand X, therefore X is stupid. So again, no, I'm pointing out exactly why it's stupid. Okay, so I'm saying to you, all right, you have two forms of energy. You have this mechanical motion energy, and then you have electricity. And clearly the correlation exists, okay, versus volume and the motion of electrons. The number of electrons versus the motion of the electrons seems exactly to correlate to the mechanism moving physical objects. And I'm saying, look at the gigantic inconsistency your V squared creates between those two mechanisms. All right. Rather than me. Okay, so he just says, therefore X is stupid rather than me. So somehow I'm ignorant because I don't accept fables. And that's all this is about. They don't have any evidence. They don't have any counter arguments. They just have their faith, And that's all they argue, is keep arguing their faith. And you're a sinner and a heathen and whatever the word is, what they use for the word for they use a certain word when you're an atheist. Well, anyway, and that's all. He's just name calling. I mean, it's pathetic. These people are just pathetic. Beneath the conversation. I mean, it's just so bad that humans can't do better than this. All right, so let's just do another example. So maybe I'll make one of the videos about this example, because it's another great example that just proves the failure. All right, so you have a simple object like a spinning top. All right, and so let's say you could make a spinning top with let's say if this was the profile view, that it had a flat surface to it, and then a point to spin on and a little handle to turn it with. And so you could place weights at various locations. So you could put a 2 weight here, and you could put a 1 weight out here, right? So the top has a little weight here and has a bigger weight here. Okay, and here's the center. Now, is it or is it not an absolute fact? I guess I could turn that and move it over. Yeah, not terrible. So I guess I'll use these cheaper markers. Yeah. Anyway, so obviously the rotation of this at twice the velocity is going to be the same as this at 1 velocity. So that's an absolute fact, right? So just like the lever, we know that this inside mass will move at 1 velocity, right? 1v, whatever that would be. And this one, twice the distance from the center, will be moving at 2v. All right. And that's the only thing I've done to the top. So the top is perfectly balanced. And we've just, and it spins perfectly. And now all we're going to do is add these weights. And if I add these weights just in these positions, just like this, the top will spin. So I can spin it and it'll work. But if I move this 2 mass over a little bit, we know now it won't work, okay? Now it's going to be imbalanced, okay? The 2 mass at 1v, right, and the 1 mass at 2v is equal. But if I make this 2 mass go 1.4 or some other silly number, then the two things won't be equal. There won't be the same energy on both sides of the top, and it won't spin. It'll wobble and fall down because it'll be lopsided. One side won't be able to be sustained because the top won't be balanced anymore. Not even, this way in gravity, it won't be balanced. But more importantly, it won't have the same energy on both sides spinning. There won't be the same amount of force occupied in these objects. And so the force differential will mean the top has to process. It has to move in the direction of that extra force you've created by giving that 2 mass more velocity. So just concede the points, right? I mean, this isn't too complicated a drawing, is it? So do you accept, okay, that it is absolutely 100% true, okay, that the 2 units of distance out is the same as the 1 unit of distance, and that the reason why and also that the velocities are consistent with that equality, in the sense that this velocity will be a 1 and this velocity will be a 2. See, 3 here, 3 here. And that's what will make it possible to spin the top. And if I made it with a loose bearing, so if this was just a spinning disc and we had a loose bearing, we know if I spun, okay, and it's got a little bit of low friction that turns it and it spins, but the bearing's loose, we know if it spins consistent, it won't wobble. It'll spin on a crappy bearing because its center of mass won't be moving anywhere. But if I do put those lopsided weights, if I put those weights in the wrong places, it will wobble and fail, demonstrating that the two sides don't have the same energy in them. So do you just will you concede the point that there's every appearance here? There's every fucking appearance that this is this is hard evolutionary fact. This is like finding the DNA molecule. There's real evidence here, okay, that counters your woo theory, okay, that something else is involved besides just a mass and a velocity. Because that's all I've added to this top is a mass and a velocity. And it doesn't come out your way. It's not true that 4 pounds dropped 1 foot is the same as 1 pound dropped 4 feet. This is proving that's not true. Will you concede that point? All right, that this isn't moving 1.4 the velocity over here. Yeah, I mean, can you make your counter argument? Explain to me why that example, that simple idea of just spinning a top, how that isn't pretty strong evidence that momentum is in control and kinetic energy is nowhere to be found. There's no kinetic energy theory that explains why this top works. You can't say that the one mass is only going 1.4 the velocity. It's clearly not going 1.4 the velocity. It's clearly going twice the velocity. It clearly has more kinetic energy. This side of the top, the side that has the smaller mass on it, it's constantly got more energy than the, just from the ball itself. Has more energy. If I stop the top and the two balls flew off, they're going to fly off. The little one's going to be going twice the velocity of the big one. Do you recognize that's an absolute fact? God damn. So, yeah. Just, yeah. I really had no expectation that that scientists were religious kooks. I just didn't think that was the truth, but it's obviously the truth. That science is just a new age religion. It has nothing to do with any idea of finding the truth and doing it through discipline and being fair. So again, this is like, I liked watching Columbo. Detective stories are always interesting, and that's what science is supposed to be, a detective story. And you can just see these detectives have no interest in the truth, and any evidence that points to their friend being guilty or their wife being guilty or anything like that, all of a sudden they can't see the evidence. The evidence doesn't exist. They're terrible cheats. They're bad cops, bad scientists, bad humans. They don't have any integrity, honesty kind of bone in their body. It just ain't part of their life, paying any attention to any obligation to honor the truth and the actual facts. They're just jihading mullahs, propagandizing their silly, fucktarded, moronic religious narrative. Alright, so enough of this shit. Fucking bastards. Alright, back. So I was looking at that. Okay. And saying, wait a minute. Gravity could have an effect because the fulcrum is in the bottom of the lever. And I've sort of explained that, that makes it sort of decisive that any imbalance in the gravity, is going to screw it up. And so the change, just to clarify, I would make to the spin is that you have a little swivel here, and so the top is suspended, okay, and you spin it by spinning it from the bottom. So it's a disc that's going to spin this way, and it's hanging from a string from the top, and you can spin it from the bottom. Doesn't matter how you spin it. And the point is if I did put these weights, if I put it in any other relationship than the small mass out there and the big mass there, if I did anything other than that, okay, in terms of that 2-to-1 relationship, and it's 2-to-1, as long as the weights are more than the disc itself weighs. So obviously you want to use like a CD or something that's very light, and then something that's heavy stuck on the CD, something like that. And that if you spun it, okay, that it'll stay in this one position, okay, if you have those weights 2-to-1, okay, 2 mass going 1 velocity, 1 mass going 2 velocity. That will work. And anything else, this whole thing will process. So the whole thing will do this kind of crap. So you can spin it and it'll stay centered. But if you have uneven masses, it'll go very eccentric. That would be the argument. But see, each one of these things, there's all these little details. We can talk about ideal levers and talk about ideal this, and I've explained, we can't use the ideals. We can't make ideals. We can only make something less than ideal. And all these experiments are dependent on that. And then that's the part that should really, it should be something that, this should be something, the first thing scientists should say is, be really careful because it's easy to be fooled. It's easy to make an oversight, not see a variable that exists because they're there all over the place and you don't see them. And so it's like dropping, the round things into clay, indenting the clay. As I pointed out, it's not a good linear test because of the round object, which can essentially be understood as a pointed object in some respects. It has a very, it's a shape. And pointed objects obviously make things penetrate further. Arrowheads work. Okay, that doesn't mean that the arrow has more energy. It goes deeper into something. It doesn't mean it has more energy. It means that it applied the energy more efficiently to get penetration. And you can sort of understand that a round surface could be understood as a geometric surface. And that the deeper you go into the clay, the more you're pushing clay sideways, and the less you're pushing clay down. Okay, so the deeper you go, the less down you're doing, and the more sideways you're doing, and the less you penetrate the clay, the more down you're doing, and the less side. So the unfairness is saying that we have two different velocities for the same size object, twice the velocity versus 1 velocity. The problem is that the low velocity object won't penetrate further, so you could argue that there's some percentage, like 7%, 70% it's pushing down and only 30% is going sideways, where the one with twice the velocity has got exactly the opposite ratio. 30% is doing down and 70% is doing sideways because of the depth that's gone into the surface. So it's an understandable error to see that, although it superficially looks like a good experiment, if you give it a little thought, you can figure out, the round surface isn't linear. It's not going to be fair. There's a thing, the higher the velocity, the closer you get to that halfway, getting halfway through the clay, so the circle no longer matters. Until you get to that halfway point, it's very biased against something with less energy, less velocity. That's understandable. Now, somebody explain to me why what I just said is wrong. And if you can't do that, just shut the fuck up. So either explain how I'm wrong, or shut up. I'll just give you a fair notice. Okay? If all you're gonna do is talk this kind of shit, Piro, and channel 321 guy, because this is just shit. All right? I mean, I'm making real arguments. You're not countering those arguments. You're saying these arguments aren't valid. You're saying this argument about how arrows make things penetrate and how the shape matters in terms of hitting a surface. It depends on, the shape of the surface will change how deep something goes into the surface. It's just an absolute fact. Are you denying that absolute fact? I mean, damn it. Fuckers. Anyway, gee, I just hate this fucking human race. It's just such a mass of scum.